Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Flashpoint Fire Rescue. It's a board game where you play as firemen trying to get try to rescue people out of a burning building before either the building collapses or too many people die. So, I'm going to go ahead and go over the setup for this. This game can be played with 2 to 6 players, though technically you can play it by yourself, though obviously you generally want to play with people, obviously. This game is a cooperative game. There's no scoring or anything like that. The only goal is to try to complete it. There are 2 different setups for this game. Well, there's a few setups, but there's the beginner mode, which just plays with very straightforward characters. There's no character classes. There are no crazy mechanics. It's very, very straightforward. Then there's experience game, which is kind of the actual real game where you get to play as various classes, various roles, and there's pretty much all the mechanics that are going to be available through the game. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, we need to get it set up. Now there are 2 boards. There's an alternate board where I guess you can say it's a little bit more difficult because there's less entrances that lead directly into the house. But we will worry about that in a bit. For right now, I will go ahead and just start setting up the doors. So any spots that have these little icons here, you let's see, in each of the doorways. So all these areas here. So just like this, you put them all in these little spots here. You don't have to worry about the outside doors. Those are already open. That's why they have the little open icon. All doors start out closed. It does take an action to open them. They can also be blown open. Anyway, next we need to actually start setting up the fire itself. Now, the way, how much like fire and hazmat and stuff that you start with is depending on the difficulty. There's recruit, veteran, and heroic. I'm just going to do it on recruit for now. So the way this works is first we need to roll. We need to roll the 8-sided dice. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now. 7. Now in the rulebook, there's each of the numbers represents a location that it's going to be in, and it's going to. And for 7, it's 4. It's 4, 4, 4. So what that means is, as you can see here, there's numbers along the top, as well as the sides. The sides are, of course, 1 through 6, and then the top is 1 through 8, which is what this little D6, D8 combination can produce. But for this, we only rolled 1 result, and it just gives us 4, 4. And so it's going to be 4, 4, which is right here. And what we need to put here is a hotspot, which we'll go into later. And I have to put a fire here. And I have to resolve an explosion, what an explosion is going to do is it's going to explode outwards in all directions, like this, and it's going to blow apart that door. So that door is now gone. Oh, sorry, it needs to go like this. Sorry about that. Okay. For the second explosion, I have to roll both dice. Okay. Sorry, that's not the right. I pressed the wrong key there. There we go. 5, 5. Second explosion, roll both dice. If the target space is already on fire, re-roll. 5, 5. There's 5. There's 5. It's actually right there. So we're going to end up putting a hotspot right here. A fire here. And we need to resolve an explosion. So it's going to go out in all directions. And it's going to hit these 2 walls. And what's going to end up happening is it's going to do structural damage to the walls. Each wall could take up to 2 points of structural damage, and once they've gotten 2 cubes on them, they are considered open, which means you can actually walk through them. Structural damage is one of the ways that the game could end. If the house takes too much structural damage, it will collapse, and anything that remains that's still in the house will die. And then you end up tallying your score and all that nonsense, assuming you win. Alright, next we need to do the third explosion. It says flip over the black die from the previous roll and re-roll the red die. So here, shows us what the opposite facings are. So for an 8-sided die, a 5 turns into a 1. So like that. And then I need you to re-roll the 6-sided die. 6. So 6, 1 is right there. So we get to put up another hotspot. And we need to resolve an explosion here as well. So a lot of our fire is kind of in the corner here. And we've already taken 4 structural damage to the entire house. There are 20 cubes left. Once we run out of cubes, that is it. So, yeah. Anyway, if playing on Heroic, nope, skip that. I have the rules in front of me. I actually own the physical board game. Otherwise, you have to go through the notebook stuff, which I'm not going to worry about. Let's see. Roll to place the hazmat markers. Okay. So next I have to roll to decide the hazmat. For recruit difficulty, I have to place 3 of them. So, yeah. If you're playing on heroic difficulty, there would actually be 4 explosions, but we're good for now. So 1 and 5. So hazmat goes here. 4 and 3. If it's on fire, I have to re-roll it. So I will roll again. 5 and 6 and 5. That is also on fire. 2 and 4. That's hazmat. That's really close by. And then for the last one, 2 and 7, which is all right. So it seems like fire's over here. Hazmat's on the opposite side. I'll talk more about hazmat in a bit. Next, we need to. Are these all face down? Yes, they're all face down. So I'm going to go ahead and shuffle this. Remove 2 victim markers. Actually, sorry, I need to search first. And unfortunately, yeah, that's going to be annoying. Alright, so what I have to do is, it just says remove 2 victims and 1 false alarm marker. So, unfortunately, I have to find where the false alarms are. There's a false alarm. Alright. These 2 can come back in, because we're going to go save some kitties and puppies. Alright, so remove these from the game. Shuffle those. Flip the remaining 10 victims and... Okay, yep. So just make sure they're all face down. Roll the dice. Okay. So I need to roll 3 times and now place these characters. If it's on a fire location, I have to roll again. So roll again. 1 and 8. So one person's going to go over here. Or a possible person will go over here. 4 and 2. So right there. 3 and 6, which is over there. And that's it. Okay, at this point, each player would actually take a pick a role. I'm going to be playing this as a 4-player game, so I'm just going to do this. Now, I made these duplicate characters just so I can keep track of turn order, because that's the easiest way to do it for me. So we'll just do that. These guys can just go hang out here. And obviously I'll start with myself. Then I'll go blue, green, then red. Like so. So blue can go over here. Green can hang out here. Red can go there. Like I said, this is just to keep track of my turns. Okay. So now I actually have to pick the roles. And I haven't really talked about the roles yet. So there's the paramedic. She can treat victims. So they can actually move, so you can actually carry them quicker. The bad part about paramedics is it costs twice as much action points to actually extinguish fire and smoke. So she's not really designed to take out fire, put out fires. She's just designed to help rescue people. Up in the top left corner, it shows how much AP they get per turn. So in this case, she gets 4. The driver operator, this guy has 4 AP. When you fire what he can do is he specializes in firing the deck gun on the fire engine, which can be used to put out large amounts of fires. And whenever he does it, it's at a cheaper cost than normal. Normally firing the deck gun costs 4 AP, but for him it costs only 2, so he can actually fire it twice per round. And whenever he fires it, he can actually choose to re-roll one or both dice to improve his result, but he has to accept the second result. The Hazmat Technician, pretty standard guy, but his special ability is he can actually immediately dispose of Hazmat that he gets to at the cost of 2 AP. If you don't use a Hazmat Technician, you would have to manually go over there, pick it up, and carry it out, which is very slow. So Hazmat Technician is very good in the beginning, in the early game, to clear out all the Hazmat. The Generalist has no special abilities or actions. He just has 5 AP per round. That's it. Imaging Technician, he has 4 AP, and he can spend 1 AP to flip over these tokens to see what they are from a distance. This can be pretty useful whenever, because if fire reaches these guys, it will kill them. But some of these things are actually blank tokens, in which case, once you find out that they're a blank token, you immediately remove them and then just place another character down. So for an Imaging Technician, it's pretty good for identifying targets that you don't need to worry about. Fire Captain, he has 4 AP, but he also gets 2 Command AP. And what he can do with those 2 Command AP is he can move other people outside his turn. Actually, he can do that with all of his AP, but he gets 2 additional Command AP to mess around with. Alright, that's about it. And then the CAF's Firefighter, he has only 3 AP normal, but he gets 3 extinguishing AP that can only be used for putting out fires. So he specializes in just moving slowly and taking out fire. And then the Rescue Specialist is 4 AP, but has 3 AP that can just be used for movement. He can also chop for cheaper. Usually it takes 2 AP to chop, but Rescue Specialist can chop for 1, which means they can chop through walls faster if you need to do that. The bad part is it takes double AP to extinguish fire and smoke, very much like the Paramedic. So they are just designed to quickly get to locations and then get out. Alright, so that's pretty much it. So I need to pick my roles. I'm going to be starting with a white character. So I'm going to go ahead and have that person be the driver operator, because I intend on using that operator to hopefully blast about a bunch of this fire out. And I don't think there's anything else I need to worry about. Oh, actually, there's some more stuff. I have to assign my characters first. So let's see what we get. Now, one other thing I want to check. Okay. As for where you can start on the board, you can start anywhere that's on a board edge. So I'm actually going to probably start here. Also, we could decide where they put the fire engine, which is going to be probably here, more than likely. For the blue character, I'm going to go ahead and make him the Hazmat. So Hazmat Guy, I'm going to go ahead and put Hazmat Guy over here. I could be on any board edge, so I'll be right there. That way he can immediately get in and start taking out Hazmat. Next character will be Green. Green, he's going to be... Let's get the... I would like to get the CAF's Firefighter in, probably. Getting him in, it would be really useful. And then the last person will be probably the Rescue Specialist. So I'm going to put the CAF's Firefighter here. I'm going to put the CAF's Firefighter here so he can start moving in. And hopefully start putting out some fires. And then I'll put the Rescue Specialist probably in the same location. Actually, I'm going to switch these two. The plan is I'm going to hopefully get to open the door for him, and so he can get in and start putting out fires. Okay, so now I kind of went a little all over the place, but once you assign your characters, I need to roll to see where other hotspots are going to be at. So if the target already has a hotspot, I have to roll again. So let's see. We need to add 3 additional hotspots. So this is going to go in 1-6, which already has one. 1-6. All right. 1-5. I've rolled a 1 3 times in a row on that D8. So there we go. There's a hotspot there now. 1-4. That's 4 times in a row I've rolled a 4 on this, 1 on this thing. See, there he goes. Gosh. All right, well, let's try this again. Last one. Okay, something different. 4-3, which is right there. So a lot of the danger is right here, that all the hazmat's up here. So I guess that's sort of good. All right. So I think that takes care of all of that. Anything else I need to worry about? I have to decide where the ambulance is going to be at. I will put it right here for now. It has to be on these little blue spots. You can move. It is possible to drive these things. You can move them around pretty easily. All right. Now at this point, we can actually start the game finally. And we got time to start, so might as well. So I'm just taking a look at a few things. Using the radio. Okay, so as far as driving vehicles are concerned, you have to, if it's a fire engine, you have to be in it to drive it. But for ambulance, you can actually radio for it, which means this guy right here can actually call for the ambulance to come over here immediately if need be. Anyway, so I think we're about ready to go. So let's go ahead and get these AP tokens going, I guess. Actually, the AP tokens are for if stuff carries over. You can actually save AP tokens, by the way, if you didn't know. Anyway, so first we start with the driver operator, because that's who I want to go first, because I need him to open things up. So he's going to fire the deck gun for his first 2 acts. He gets 4 AP per round. He's going to probably use both the fire at the fire here. Now, the way this is going to work is you can only fire in this section that's outlined. So you can see there's these little dotted red lines, and they're separated by section. There's 4 of them, and each of the spots have a slot for the fire engine. That's why I put it here, so I can actually influence the most fire in the area. Now, what we need to do for firing the deck gun is roll both of these dice. So that's 5-4. Now, if it's in the section, if it's a legit area that's within this little dotted area, you just resolve it as normal. If it's not, you'll have to do some manipulation, which I'll go into later. Now, where it's hitting is 4-5 or whatever, 5-4. So it's right here. And what's going to do is it's going to take out fire in a cross shape. So it's actually going to take out all 3 of these fires here, like so. So there you go. 3 fires for 1 shot. Pretty good. That costs 2 AP. I have 2 AP left. I'm going to go ahead and fire in the section one more time and hope I get a good roll. 2-3 brings it to here. And then I have to flip over any dice that are outside the range, which is just this die. A 3 flips into a 4, so it would be this die. So 3-4 is right here. It would take out this fire, and that's about it. I could choose to re-roll and hope I get a better result. So I'm actually going to go ahead and re-roll both die and hopefully get a better result. So that's 1-3, which this will just turn into a 4 again, and I get to take out this cross shape here, which will just be this fire. So I took out 4 fires, which is still pretty good, and at least got some of this fire out of this section a little bit. Now, at the end of every person's turn, this is very similar to games like Pandemic, where you actually have to do the bad stuff next. So the bad stuff is I have to roll this die one more time at the end of the round to decide what happens where fire starts to spawn. This is known as spreading fire. So this is 5, 4. Now if you get a location that already has fire in it, well, actually let me take a step back. And if it hits a location, it becomes smoke. If it's a location that's already smoke, it turns into fire, and any adjacent smokes that will also become fire. If the area is already on fire, it does an explosion, very similar to what we had in the start. So what's going to happen is it's going to explode in all directions, like before. And then it's going to blow a hole open here. Now the good news is we didn't hit the hotspot. If you hit a hotspot, you have to do the normal resolution, and then you have to roll this again to spread fire to another location. So every time you hit hotspots, it's just going to spread fire more and more. Now the bad news is this guy is in trouble. Next is the Hazmat Specialist. So I'm going to go ahead and go 1, 2. It takes an action to open the door, but so I'm going to go ahead and open this door, and I'm going to go inside. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That was 3 AP for movement and 1 AP for opening the door. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead and spread fire again. 2, 5, which is right there. Now this would usually be smoke, but since there's fire next to it, it's going to become fire. So getting a little heated in there, but not much we can do about it. Rescue Specialist is next. She has 4 AP and then 3 AP for movement. So I'm going to go ahead and use my AP for movement. So, which one are you? You're green. 1, 2. So 2 of my movements. I'm going to use my regular to go ahead and do that. And then, unfortunately, I can't. I'm going to go ahead and move. You can actually move through fire. It takes 2 AP to move through fire. So I have 3 regular AP, 1 movement AP. So moving here is going to reduce me down to no more movement and 2 AP left. And then I'm going to move here and see what this guy has. It's thankfully no one important. So this is a false alarm. And I have to roll to spread a new character in a second. But I'll do that after I decide what to do next. I have 1 AP left and I can't really get anywhere from here, so I'm just going to put an AP token there to carry over to the next round. Now, I need to spread fire again. 6, 4, which is right here, which again is smoke that becomes fire. And then I need to roll this again to see where I put a new person. So 2, 2. Put the person right there. Alright, not too shabby. There's a lot of fire going around, but it's not the end of the world. Now, next is going to be the CAPS firefighter. So he's going to go 1, 2. So he moved 2 spaces. So he has 1 AP left and 3 extinguishing AP. He's going to use 2 of his extinguishing AP to go ahead and take out this fire. Now, just to point out, you can extinguish smoke for 1 AP. You can turn fire into smoke for 1 AP. And you can also extinguish fire completely in one go with 2 AP. So I went ahead and took it out completely, because if I turned it into smoke, it would just turn into fire again. And then I'm going to go ahead and... So that was 2 of my AP. I have 1 AP left. And unfortunately, I don't really have much else I can do this round. So I'm going to go ahead and just take a AP token. I can't carry over the extinguishing AP, but I can take the 1 AP, regular AP I still left. I still had left, rather. So, okay, so that's taken care of. Next, we got to spread fire again. 2, 5. Unfortunately, that's an explosion, so it's going to spread a bunch of fire. So, fire goes here. Fire goes here. Here's 2, 5. It's going to do some structural damage to this wall. And then it's going to hit... when it's spreading through other fire, it's just going to go in a straight line. So it's going to go from here to there to there. So it's going to put a structural damage right there. Okay, so that's all been taken care of. Now we're back to the driver operator again. And looks like he has a lot of work to do. Now, the only requirement for shooting into this section is there can't be any firefighters in there. It doesn't matter about anyone else. Let me just make sure of that. Yeah, it has to be a quadrant that the fire engine borders, and it has to be a quadrant that has no other firefighters present. All the firefighters are all the way over here, so we should be good to go. So once again, 2 AP. I'm going to go ahead and fire the deck gun, and more than likely it's going to do something for this. So 2 8. So 2 is here, 8 is over there. So I need to flip one of these dice. 2 becomes 5, which brings it down to here, and then 8 becomes 4. So 4 and 5 is right here, which isn't terrible, but I would like a better shot. So I'm going to go ahead and re-roll it and see what we get, so that might be better. The only thing I really need to re-roll... Let's see, I take out 3 fires with this. Yeah, I'm just going to re-roll it. We'll see if we get something better. So that's 1 5, which is, once again, only 3 fires, but that's fine. So that was the re-roll, so I can't re-roll it again. Okay. Next, I'm going to go ahead and use my last 2 AP to fire the deck gun one more time. Alright, so that's 3 4, which is off the screen, but this becomes a 4. And it's going to hit right here, which is actually the best spot I wanted. So this fire, this fire, this fire, and this fire are taken out. Alright. Still a lot of fire over here, but it's away from everyone else. It's away from all the bad stuff. So that's the good news. Alright, so once again I need to spread fire. 4 6, which is right here. And this is just going to put smoke because there's no bordering fire. Okay. Something else you can do with your actions. I didn't really show this action card here. You got your movement. Every step takes 1 AP, but moving through fire takes 2 AP. Moving with a victim or hazmat in hand takes 2 AP per space. So that's like carrying people or carrying hazmat out the door. Opening and closing doors cost 1 AP. Closing doors can be beneficial for just preventing fire from spreading. Extinguish smoke, we've already gone over that stuff. Chopping is 2 AP. Driving to a new location is 2 AP. Riding in a vehicle that's being driven is free. So you can be carried by another player. Crew change is 2 AP. So if you're in the fire engine, you can actually change characters. You can change roles. And then firing the deck gun is 4. And, alright. And it's stating the other things like a wall segment with 2 damage markers destroyed, a wall segment with 1 damage marker is damaged. So there you go. You can go through walls that are destroyed but not damaged. Okay. So that was our driver operator. He's been doing a good job there. I'm going to go next into the hazmat. Hazmat's going to go 1 space this direction. He's going to spend 2 AP to remove to dispose the hazmat completely. So that's his special gig. He can remove hazmat without having to carry it out. So this gets removed. Now, if fire hits hazmat, it's essentially an explosion that creates another one of these hotspots. So it's definitely a good idea to take these out if you can. He has 1 AP left, which I'm just going to go ahead and save. Okay. Next, I need to spread fire again, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. 2 2, that puts smoke right on top of this guy. Okay. Smoke won't kill anyone. You can move through smoke safely, but once it turns into fire, it's bad stuff. One of the ways you can lose this game, by the way, is if you lose too many people. So be aware of that. I think it's just going to make sure that's right. Advanced fire, order resolution. Let's see, to win this, you have to rescue 7 victims. So I guess the moment where you lose too many people to be able to save is 7, I think is the thing there. Let's see. There's all that. Oh, if you lose 4 or more victims, that's a loss. So we need to make sure 4 people don't die. Anyway, that was. I think that's it for right now. When we come back, we'll continue with this. Next character is going to be the Rescue Specialist. I'm the Depressed Viewer, and this was Flashpoint. See you guys later.